Hello and welcome to another episode of Artfully Orange. I am Vicki Landon and I am here with Michaela and Lyla Wright. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so glad to be here.
Hi.
Absolutely. Hi there. Well, okay, I want to start off with you, Michaela. Opera singer, performer, doing educational work. Talk to me a little bit about how you even fell in love with opera and classical music to begin with.
Yes, so I always joke that I came out of the womb loving theater and music. When I was very young, I was enamored with this VHS tape of the London West End version of Cats, of all things. But I absolutely loved it. I watched it on repeat. I think it may even have been broken at one point. So much so that my mom actually dressed me up as a cat one year. I had her paint my face like one of the cats we paused the VHS, and there was also a Grease cassette tape that I was really in love with and played over and over and over again. So it just kind of grew from there, my love of music. And I started to take some dance classes in theater in middle school, did a ton in high school. I graduated from West Orange High School, so I'm an OCPS alum. And so from there, I was able to go on and study musical theater at Jacksonville University in Jacksonville, Florida, where I had some very wonderful teachers who pushed me a little outside of my comfort zone into some classical music, where I discovered that I really, really love classical music. I had a wonderful choral director there, Tim Snyder, and a wonderful teacher, Dr. J. Ivy, who prepared me for grad school to study opera at University of Illinois, where I did some very cool roles, including The Fox and Cunning Little Vixen with Lyric Theater Illinois, and Orfeo and Euridice, which kind of ignited a love of early music for me as well. So then when I graduated in 2020, of all years, I came back to Florida and I discovered Central Florida Vocal Arts, which is where I currently work and teach. I have just over 20 students with CFVA, and the vast majority are ones that I teach through a grant-funded program called Arts 1-to-1, where we do weekly one-on-one lessons with Title I students who would not otherwise be able to afford lessons, completely free of charge to them. And it's one of the very most wonderful and enjoyable things that I do as a teacher. It really feels great to be able to work with those students, and it's the highlight of my week to work with those students, I'd say.
I love that. Now, Lyla, how about you? You are not working at Central Florida Vocal Arts and being a fox and being a cat. What are you doing?
I actually am still in school. I am a junior. I am in hospital homebound for West Orange.
Another OCPS.
Yeah. Although I am trying my hardest.
Yeah. You've shared with me before, I think, that, your lived experience having epilepsy, having had a brain tumor, right, that was thankfully benign, this experience with getting to do Make-A-Wish work, the experiences you have walking through life on this path have led you to other creative endeavors, right? I would love to hear a little bit about what that looks like for you and ways that you've been able to express yourself artistically through the life that you live.
Yes, ma'am. I love to, I started becoming an epileptic when I was 7, and now,
you kind of use that as inspiration, right?
Really
for your work.
Use that as inspiration for my work, because my first piece I actually sold was called Rough Roads. Because I was on my rough roads then.
And And that was also really cool because it was a very unique medium that she used for that. Talk a little bit about the mediums that you use.
Yeah, I used different layers, and then I used painter's tape and duct tape to try to take that layer off, and then did different. I had clean lines, and then I had some lines that were black that also had some white in them. Mm-hmm. So they were rough. They looked rough. And so there were some clean days, and then there were some rough days.
And I think that kind of got you on a road of like exploring other mediums, of being able to paint with, like, for example, your toothbrush, which you love.
I use a toothbrush. I use cups of all sizes. I use bubble wrap. I use all different types of things around the house as long as it's available to me.
Now, I know that you've used these talents and these skills in a partnership with Michaela about classical music. Will the two of you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yes. So in my work as a musician, I kind of found my way into some musical advocacy with an organization called Protestra, in addition to my advocacy work with Central Florida Vocal Arts. So that's something that's really core to me as an artist. So I had programmed this recital of music about women empowerment, classical music about women empowerment, called Empowered. And I did it in collaboration with pianist Ladine Williams at Timucua Arts. And I asked Lyla to be a part of that in this kind of all-female cast of, all-woman cast of performers and artists that were on the program, and asked her to create some works of art for each of the 4 song cycles that were on there based on her synesthesia. And what she was experiencing when she was hearing the music and hearing me perform the music. And
so for folks who don't know what synesthesia is, will you give us a definition?
So synesthesia is, so if you kind of seen the movie Ratatouille, there's a little scene where Remy smells food and sees colors. I hear music and see colors in front of me. That is what synesthesia is.
So I think it was probably really cool for me to see what Lyla saw, like for her to take what was in her mind and put it on paper, or put it on canvas in this case. And for the audience to see that as well, as we swapped out the paintings for each of the song cycles. I think it was really cool to see a depiction of what was in her mind in a physical form. That was really cool for me. And you were able to sell a piece too. That was cool.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, we know that art. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And as a Make-A-Wish kid, I've learned to do, Disney has inspired me. They let me stay at the Polynesian resort, and they did a lot for me. I had the Genie Pass and got to go in front of
to skip the lines. That was cool.
Even the Fast Pass line.
So has that experience showed up in your art that you've done since?
Right. And I now, I'm in the hospital a lot. I've had 15 surgeries. But I keep on going.
Yeah.
And
one of the ways that you do that is by
when I'm in the hospital is draw Disney characters for other children and give it to Child Life to give to the children, and they give either crayons or colored pencils and use it as a coloring page and give it to
I love
child.
Well, we know that art plays such a pivotal role in education. And Michaela, you do so much of that work day in, day out. And with your work at Central Florida Vocal Arts and other places, we know that art plays such a role in healing. And Lyla, thank you so much for your contributions to that with the hospital systems. And I am really grateful for the both of you for your time and that we have you here in Orange County. So thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure.
All right, great. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Artfully Orange. We'll catch you at the next one.